After Ethan was rescued from the fire, he claimed he'd lost his memory. He remembered everyone but me, his own wife of 5 years, completely forgotten. To keep his little assistant around, he called me a desperate, clingy lunatic in public. At first, I thought the injury had messed with his head, so I held back my pain and took care of him. Then I found out it was all an act, a disgusting lie to replace me with someone younger. Since he loved to act, I decided to play along. I'd pretend to lose my memory too. Right in front of him, I threw my arms around the most powerful heir without hesitation and called him husband in the sweetest voice. Today was my birthday. At 10 o'clock at night, Ethan Gray still hadn't come home. I called him, but his personal assistant Susan answered instead. On the other end, Ethan's voice was muffled and indulgent. "Susan, stop fooling around." I hung up in fury and sent him a text about divorce. 1 minute later, Ethan's call came through. "Miranda Walsh, are you ever going to stop? I booked a hotel. I'll celebrate your birthday there, okay?" Not wanting to ruin my birthday completely, I reluctantly took a cab to South Mountain. But halfway up the mountainside, the road ahead was completely blocked by police tape. South Mountain restaurant had caught fire. The flames had turned half the sky red. I don't know how I made it to the emergency building at City Hospital. The nurse's station told me he was in a special care room on the 3rd floor. I didn't even wait for the elevator. I ran up the emergency stairs like a madwoman, losing a shoe along the way without bothering to pick it up. At the hospital room door, it was left slightly ajar. I pushed it open. Ethan was wearing a hospital gown with a white gauze bandage on his forehead, sitting safely against the headboard, and his arms were wrapped tightly around a completely uninjured woman. It was Susan, the assistant who'd been fooling around with him on the phone. Ethan was looking down at her, coaxing her in a gentle voice. "As long as I'm here, I'll never let anything happen to you." I froze in the doorway, my nails digging into my palms. Hearing the door open, Susan jumped out of his embrace like she'd been electrocuted. She turned around, looking at me with reddened eyes, though a barely perceptible flash of panic crossed her gaze. "Miranda." Ethan's eyes followed. The tender look from moments ago turned to ice the instant he saw me. He showed no guilt at being caught in an affair. He pulled Susan behind him, his defensive gaze sweeping over me from head to toe. "Who are you? Who gave you permission to barge into my hospital room?" I stood stunned, my breathing stopped for a beat. "Ethan, what kind of joke is this?" I forced down my trembling voice and took a step forward. "I'm Miranda Walsh. I'm your wife." "Wife?" Ethan let out a cold laugh, his lips full of mockery. "Did you suffer some kind of shock that made you lose your mind?" Ethan's eyes were ice cold, his ridicule merciless. "Even if my brain got burned by the fire, I would never marry you." I stared at him in disbelief. "What?" Susan hid behind him and spoke timidly. "Mr. Gray, the doctor said you inhaled dense smoke that damaged your nerves, causing retrograde amnesia." "Miranda, she really is your wife." Ethan's expression instantly darkened. He grasped Susan's hand in return, his tone somewhat displeased. "Susan, you don't need to speak up for her. The only person I've ever loved in my life is you. I've never been married." He stared at me intensely, his eyes full of undisguised rejection. "Even if I did get married, who knows what methods she used to force me. Please leave immediately and stop disturbing us." "What methods did I use to force you?" I laughed bitterly, my whole body trembling as I raised my left hand. The diamond wedding ring on my ring finger stung my eyes. "Ethan, this is the matching ring you personally put on my finger 5 years ago when you knelt in front of the entire company and begged me to marry you. Our initials are even engraved inside." I thought this ring he'd personally designed would awaken some sense of familiarity in him, but Ethan only glanced at it coldly. Then without hesitation, he removed the men's ring from his own hand and casually tossed it into the trash can. "You bought a matching ring and think you can scam me?" Ethan's eyes were full of disdain. I felt struck by lightning, frozen in place. Even breathing felt like it was tearing at my lungs. Susan's eyes reddened as she tugged at his sleeve. "Mr. Gray, Miranda looks so pitiful. What if she really is?" "Susan, you're just too naive." Ethan's tone instantly turned tender. "Even if she produces a marriage certificate, it would be a fake." He looked up at me again, his expression changing with chilling speed. "You've made Susan cry." He pointed at the hospital room door. "Get out with your things. Don't make me call security." The door was urgently pushed open from outside. Lucas came in carrying several brain CT scan films. Seeing the tense atmosphere, he quickly stepped in front of me. Miranda, calm down. Didn't I tell you outside just now that Ethan can't handle stimulation right now?" He threw away his wedding ring, I said with reddened eyes, grabbing Lucas by the collar. "Lucas, you tell me what's wrong with him? How could a perfectly fine person suddenly forget the past 5 years completely?" Lucas's eyes darted around frantically, not daring to meet my gaze. He coughed twice and forcibly pried my hands away, half pushing, half dragging me toward the door. The brain impact injured his hippocampus. This type of retrograde amnesia is rare medically, but it does exist. Ethan's memory is stuck 5 years ago, right before he met you. "What about Susan?" I gritted my teeth, pointing into the room. "He forgot everyone else, so why is he so devoted to a mere assistant?" Lucas swallowed, guiltily fabricating lies. The fire was critical. Susan stayed by his side the whole time. It might be a psychological thing. He subconsciously sees Susan as a lifeline, even mistaking her for his first love. First love? My tears finally fell. Lucas pushed me out of the hospital room and closed the door behind us. "Miranda, arguing with him now won't help. He's a patient. The more you push him, the more he'll resent you. If you want him to recover his memory, you need to go along with him. Don't try to stimulate him with things from the past anymore." After saying this, Lucas left and returned to the doctor's office. I stood alone in the corridor, barefoot on one side, my dress hem covered in black soot from the fire rescue. Through the glass window in the door, I watched the man I'd loved for 5 years. He was holding a cup of warm water, carefully bringing it to Susan's lips. Susan took a sip and smiled sweetly at him. Ethan's eyes overflowed with adoration. I covered my face and slid down the cold wall to sit on the floor. Miranda goes to the hospital to pick up her husband Ethan on his discharge day, only to find he's already left with his assistant, Susan. Ethan blocks her calls. That night, Susan sends Miranda provocative photos from Ethan's luxury apartment, including his custom shirt and a suggestive bedroom setup. Susan taunts Miranda, asking her to agree to a divorce. Enraged, Miranda storms into the apartment, catches Ethan and Susan in an intimate moment, and tries to slap Susan. Ethan stops her, shoves her to the floor, and warns her never to return, claiming he remembers nothing. As Miranda lay on the cold floor. Watching her husband shield another woman, she realized her 5-year marriage had already died. But what she didn't know, Ethan's memory loss might not be an accident at all.